Greetings, everybody. This is Izzy here, coming to you with my review for the 2020 science fiction horror films, The Invisible Man. I am your host, Izzy, and welcome to my cinema dojo. I meant to catch this film on Friday night, but I was feeling pretty tired, especially after work at Thursdays. So I just went ahead and decided I will catch it today, and it is 9:05 p.m. And give me a little background on this film in general. This film, actually, before it was released, was intended to be a continuation of the dark universe that Universal was attempted to establish with their franchise, with their horror franchises, if you will. And anyone who's familiar with the Tom Cruise Mummy film, that was supposed to be the beginning of this dark shared universe, which was going to be the Mummy, Invisible Man, Jekyll and Hyde, Dracula, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's monster. You were going to have. I'm wondering if that was eventually going to more venture board to a film to have all of them on the same screen. I'm not exactly sure, but either way, that was the intended direction. And when the Mummy didn't perform well enough for it to justify a shared universe, they pretty much scrapped all the plans of a shared universe and decided to just focus on the standalone retellings of the classic horror films that we grew up watching. The Invisible Man, this version, is a modern day retelling of the classic horror story. And it stars with Elizabeth Moss, and she is playing the character Cecilia Cass, who is escaping the grasp of her mentally and physically abusive husband, boyfriend, whatever you want to call him. And he has this narcissistic personality who is also, mind you, besides having that mentality associated with him, he is rich and intelligent, and he is an inventor of groundbreaking technology. She receives the news that he has committed suicide, and lo and behold, she receives some money in the trust fund that is supposed to take care of her throughout the remainder of her life. And eventually what happens is all these mysterious circumstances start arising, and she is thrown into the unsuspected world of having these circumstances transpire all around her, and yet having no proof as if she has nothing to do with the situation. One of the wonderful things about this film, and also is directed by Lee Wano, and anyone who's familiar with Lee Wano also knows that he was very much associated, and still is actually, with the Saw franchise that started in 2004. It went on to become one of the most successful horror franchises of all time, and he is the director of this film. And one of the cool things about this film that I really loved. We've all become accustomed to the jump scares, especially as of late when it comes to the cinematic horror features. And the cool thing about it, actually, in retrospect, is it's more focusing on especially anyone who's watched the trailer. Actually, the trailer is what you see in the film, but the interesting thing about it is it still was delivered in such a fashion to where it still has you wondering if what this character is experiencing is all in her head, or is she really losing her mind, or is there something more sinister and nefarious going on that is attempted to haunt, stalk, and cause as much misery and strife in her life as possible. The direction of this film really focuses on, and I brought this up in my review on my Facebook, The Sixth Sense. It's very much Hitchcockian in its delivery, whereas Alfred Hitchcock was more interested in terms of slowly building the anticipation, and then when you get to the crescendo, that's when everything is revealed, and then you're so monumentally and emotionally invested and somewhat drained that it just leaves you that much more breathless. This film, especially in the beginning, is very innovative in how there's little to no dialogue, and it's just slowly building up the intensity, and then all of a sudden, bam, something happens, and even though you know what's going to happen, it doesn't change the fact that it catches you off guard still. It is a very, very intense storyline. It brings an interesting, unique perspective on emotional and abusive relationships, and also while incorporating that realistic side of life into a horror film, while still maintaining a sense of over the topness, but at the same time, it still has this originality to it, if you will. Elizabeth Moss delivers an amazing performance. I mean, she is a talented and underrated actress. She brings to life this character where you are sympathetic with her, and you feel horrible for her. You're fearful for her life, but she also manages to make you wonder, well, what what if she really is losing her mind? And that to me is a testimony of how great of a talented actress that she is. Is that she has you feeling sorry for her. At the same time, you're starting to wonder, well, what if this is all still in her head and she's just, you know, she's so traumatized with what she experienced before that she's coming up with all these different scenarios that's going on, and none of it's really happening. But she does an amazing job. I mean, she really just she exudes so much raw intensity and talent that you really can't help but, man, I guess the best way I can describe it is when it comes to certain films, especially now, how can I explain this? Certain actors and actresses, especially as of late, they're always interacting with a blue or green screen. Whereas with this film, she's literally interacting with nothing. She is looking at an actual wall. She's looking at an actual scenario or surroundings, actually, where it's in a house, and she's interacting with nothing. And she has put herself in such a state of mind that she really actually believes that she has focused on this individual who has managed to make himself invisible, if you will, and she is just channeling all that emotion, all that rage, all that fear and confusion, and she just, from Mad Men to The Handmaid's Tale to Us, she's just, and in this film, I mean, she just really brings it. I mean, she carries it. Anyone else, I don't believe, would have been able to convey that same intensity that she does in this film. But man, she really brings it to the table. Lee Wano actually, and also has managed to create a film that maintains its intensity level from beginning to end. It's just pure, raw, intense energy, and it's something that I think we all can relate to, whether it's physical or mental abuse in a relationship or not. We've all experienced a certain sensation where we felt as if we were being watched or followed by something or someone, and we've all been in that situation where we experience, you know, the hairs on our arms standing up or our necks standing up, and our hearts start beating, and we just think we're being followed. And that's what this film has managed to successfully do in terms of making you relate to the experiences that this character is going through. And it's just, I remember when I watched the trailer that I found myself believing that it was going to be very similar to Hollow Man, which starred Kevin Bacon, but this is more darker, raw, and obviously it is still, while it manages to embrace the science fiction element, it still more or less still pulls back from it at the same time. There's a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of tense moments that just build up, and it just has you on the edge of your seat. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. It really, truly brings, I think this is the type of direction that a lot of horror films need to go into, not necessarily relying much on jump scares and gore and blood and violence, but just really building up that level of intensity where you just feel it in your bones, you feel it in your soul, that it just has you on edge. And that's what a good horror film does. That besides building that level of anticipation, it really leaves you with that lasting impression that you've experienced something that just leaves you feeling, wow, I felt that. I really truly felt that. And that's what The Invisible Man did for me personally. It's focused on the pure acting brilliance of Elizabeth Moss, where she is carrying the story of interacting with an unseen force of nature. And she does a brilliant job. The whole film in general is just amazing. Just building up upon revelation after revelation after revelation, then crescendo, then before you know it, it's not a very long film either, and it doesn't allow you to get bored either. That's another beautiful thing about it. It just really keeps you interested in the story and the character development, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. I can't recommend it enough. You really need to check this out, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow. You definitely need to check it out. It's well worth it, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by it. My end of my review, I give it a 5 out of 5, 2 thumbs up. 2020 Invisible Man, definitely check it out. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Provide a like. Let me know on my Facebook what you thought about it. You'll be hearing from me again very soon. I think my next review is going to be Onward. If not Onward, it will definitely be The Quiet Place 2 on the 20th of this month, actually. Without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed my review, and you'll be hearing from me again. Take care and be safe. Peace out.